けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね Let's go! レオンの絡む肌踊る影揺れるステップ流されるままにはにかむ横顔に遠くで響く鼓動探すほど見失い溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね Let's go! 寂しげな言葉をつぶやく唇を音色と混ぜ合わせて消えてく人の波預ける指先に儚く揺れる光溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね失われた声街に飲まれて霞んでいく笑顔遠くになる瞳曖昧な距離さえ甘くてほんの少しでもこの夜に酔わせて溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね溶けてく夜明けにこれが最後の願いね嘘でもいいからみんなないものねだりね
up, everyone? Konbanwa, konnichiwa, ohayo gozaimasu. Wherever you are, I was seeing all the salutations in the chat, so make sure we cover all the time zones. And as always, let me know if you can hear and see me okay. From my end, it looks like you can, but just in case, let me know. And yes, welcome to stream number 11. So we're well into the double digits now. 2 into them, but that's still well into in my books. And yeah, how are you guys doing? I see a lot of new names in the chat. Love to see them. So welcome to anyone who has not been here before. I believe Clover Boy was saying it's their first time, so glad you could make it out. And yes, as always, we're doing a 2-hour stream. First hour will be Japanese language related questions. I know some of you were saying you would like some help on Japanese learning. That's what we're here for. So just make sure you put your questions in the Q&A that I'll post shortly for this first hour. And then the second hour will be life in Japan related questions. So from 10 to 11 JST. So without further ado, let me post that link in chat. So your Japanese questions here. Boom, boom. Yep, that is in the chat and I will pin it. Did I pin that? I don't know if I pinned that. Pin message. Okay, now it should be pinned. And I will also put the QR code on the screen so you can scan that as well if you'd like to ask your question that way through your phone. And in the meantime, we will chill in the chats while you guys get your questions in. And just Nora, what is up? Yahoo! Nice to see you in the chat again. Hope you're doing well. Hope the application is doing well. Let us know if there's any updates on the next application. Hope it goes well. Hope to see you in Japan sometime soon for free. We love fully paid tuition and cost of living. And Choco, hello Tokuyuu, always a pleasure, bro. It's always a pleasure for me too. Thanks for coming out, always supporting the stream, being active in chat. Really appreciate it. Save my question from last time. We'll send it again today. That sounds great. Yeah. I always apologize. Can't get to all the questions, but I do appreciate you coming back and sending the question in, and hopefully I can get to it this time. And you know, if not, I mean, you can let me know in the chat and I'll get to it eventually. I will answer your question. I promise. Just can't always get to them all in the one stream. And Lil Uzi Flame, nice to see you out here. I appreciate you always leaving comments on my videos and posts. Nice to see you can make it out to a stream as well. And EA the Gamer, of course. Love to see you out here. New name. Love to see the new names out here. Yeah, hope you guys have been keeping well. So 2 weeks, I've been editing my video. So I have a behemoth of a video coming out. And by behemoth, I mean it's a 30-minute video on Japanese language. It's been a while since I posted like a straight up vanilla Japanese language video, and a lot of you guys have been asking for it, so finally got around to doing one. And it's the longest video by far that I've ever made, 30 minutes. And so the editing, of course, is also taking hella long. So I'm just like sitting at this desk editing away. Been doing it. I was doing it earlier today, went to the gym, came back, and now we're streaming. But yeah, trying to get that out. Hopefully it will be out by the next stream, before the next stream, or else Benji West, my buddy, is going to give me a neck slap because I told him I'd get it done in 2 weeks, and that was a few days ago. So we'll see. I'm hoping. But we've made some good progress. So yes, yay, new video. I know. I'm really trying to grind it out, get these videos going on a decent schedule. I know I always try to make them high quality, so they're going to take some time, but want to get them out a little bit more often. And Elias, man, your hair is really good. Down last stream it was good, but this is new and nice. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been growing out my hair. Like normally I've had it short, you know, more up. Last stream was kind of in between, and yeah, now it's just kind of fully down because it's like quite long. It's really hard to like have up. So I'm glad you like it. I think it's more anime-esque, you know, the longer hair. It takes a long time to wash and style, which is the only pain. So I'm kind of on the fence with whether I want to keep it like this or not. But I appreciate it. Thanks for noticing, and I'm glad you like it. And Nora said, did the tests and interview for Mext on Tuesday, so almost a week ago, and I think it went well. The results will be out sometime in the next few weeks. All right. Pray in the chat for Nora. We hope she gets the Mext scholarship. And without further ado, let me refresh my inbox, because I think I've given you guys plenty of time to get some in. Yes, looks like we have got some in. Make sure that sends. Yes, it does. All right. Now let's get started with our first question. So, are you going to learn the Kansai dialect? With your current Japanese knowledge, how hard would it be? Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I currently live in Osaka, and the Kansai region is the whole Osaka, Kyoto, Kobe region. So if I can get out the Google Maps here, just so we're all on the same page here. Boop, boop. You can see that? Yeah, you should be able to see that. So I am in Osaka, lovely city, best city in Japan, subjectively and objectively speaking, just so friendly, so much to do. And the Kansai region, so this is Tokyo over here on the right, if you can see my mouse. So that's, you know, of course, the capital in the major city. And then, so that's called the Kanto region, the Tokyo and surrounding region, Yokohama, all that good stuff. And then the Kansai region, most of you probably already know this, is centrally Osaka and the surrounding region. So Kyoto, which is up here, Kyoto, Kobe, Wakayama, Nara, Shiga, probably Mie as well. All those prefectures are the Kansai region. And the Kansai region is known for being famous for comedy, as well as just being more laid back and like fun and like easygoing. And so each region of Japan has different dialects, right? So the Kansai region has the Kansai dialect, right? And yeah, it's like, I love the Kansai dialect. I think it's so fun. So like one of the main differences you'll see with like the Kansai dialect, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna keep switching this because I can't decide whether or not I need to just speak to you or show you something. But if I can move this over here. So one of the main differences for Kansai dialect, if you're not an expert, this is probably the easiest way to figure out which dialect someone's speaking between Kansai and standard Japanese. Okay. So if we have Kansai dialect, standard Japanese here, make sure you guys can see that. Yeah. So in standard Japanese, if you're speaking casually, you would say like neko da. So neko da. So it's a cat. Neko da. And so da is like the casual form of des, right? But in Kansai dialect, it would be like neko ya. So the biggest difference here for Kansai dialect is that there's a lot of ya, whereas in standard Japanese it's da. And I mean, that's not everything, but that is a lot of it. So instead of like dakedo, like but, they'll say yakedo, and like neko da, it'd be neko ya. And there's like different intonations as well. So in the Kansai dialect, so standard Japanese, you'll say arigato, like thank you, arigato. But in Kansai, it's arigato. What is it? It's like arigato. It like goes up at the end typically in Kansai dialect. Arigato. And there's like all those differences, like tanoshii, like standard Japanese, tanoshii. And it's like tanoshii, I think would be like Kansai dialect. It's kind of got like a little bit of inflection at the end. And then there's like all these other words as well that they use, like nen or like whatever. And so since I've been living in the Kansai region for 4 years now, like my entire time being in Japan, like I do have a bit of a Kansai dialect, a little bit. It's not like a true Kansai dialect, like born and raised people. Like Kansai people will say like I sound like I'm speaking standard Japanese, hyojungo. But sometimes they'll be like, oh, you have Kansai dialect as well. Like you're saying like usoyang, again, like yang instead of jang. You know, a lot of the ya sound, right? And like that feels the most natural to me. If I'm saying like uso, which is like lie, like no way, uso. Instead of saying like usojan, like no, there's no way, I say usoyan, there's no way. And it just feels more natural in Kansai dialect for me. Like that feels the most natural. And it's also because the Kansai region is famous for comedy, like saying usoyan, like with the Kansai dialect, it also, I think, just hits better in Japanese objectively, because that's what you'll hear most of the time in like professional comedy in Japan, people using the Kansai dialect. So all the tsukomi, like the people who are like, yo, that's you're not right, or like you're being stupid, like that kind of like straight man humor that like counteracts the silly man. It's like a lot of it is in the Kansai dialect. So it feels the most natural for me when I say that kind of stuff. Like, nande ya nen? What the heck? Instead of like, yeah, Nora has the nande ya nen in the chat, the classic, the what the heck? There's just not even an equivalent in standard Japanese. It's like, nani? Like what? Like, just doesn't hit the same, you know? So like those kind of parts, it is more naturally Kansai dialect for me. Of course, there are more parts, like the whole like inflection at the end, and like you can really make your Japanese kotteri, like very Kansai dialect. Just like the more you use like the ya versus da, or the more you add the inflections, or like all the other ways of speaking, the more you make it, the more like Kansai heavy it becomes. I don't want to get too far off the deep end of Kansai dialects, because like it's an accent, right? And I feel like if you make the accent too strong, it just gets a little bit harder for like the general person to understand what you're saying. Although I'd love to be able to just like turn it on, and like I think it would be hilarious. Like a foreigner speaking a perfect Kansai dialect is amazing. So to answer your question directly, with my current Japanese knowledge, how hard would it be to learn it? Yeah, I mean, the content is all the same essentially. Like, just because you're speaking the Kansai dialect does not mean your general vocab is going to be different. Like neko is still neko, like cat is still neko, like that's not going to change. And like watashi, like 99.99% of the vocab is the exact same. The grammar is the exact same. It's just you're adding a bit of like an accent to it. It's like essentially learning British English as a North American. Learning Kansai dialect is like learning British English. Like it's the exact same language. You just pronounce things differently, and sometimes they're different words. Like saying boot instead of the trunk of a car. The boot, you know? Gotta put the luggage in the boot, yeah? Like, it's like if you're an English speaker learning a British accent, like you could probably do it if you like practiced it enough, maybe lived in Britain for a while and all that good stuff. Yeah, it just takes time. And probably even as like a North American adult learning a British accent, it will probably never be like a true native like British accent, but you can get quite good. And that's probably what I could get with the Kansai dialect. Not like a true native, but like very close to it, I'd say. So it's just a matter of how much effort I want to put into learning the Kansai dialect. And I do want to get better at it. So I'd say it's just going to take a few years, you know, getting used to it and like trying to use it more and more in my daily conversation. But yeah, that's a little lesson for you guys for Kansai dialect. Kansai ben ga ii na, 100%. Kansai dialect is so good. I love it. Yeah, Kansai dialect sounds weird when non-Kansai people use it. 100%. Yeah, so there's also like a little bit of prejudice within Japan. Like they'll say esse Kansai ben. Let me pull this up. So esse Kansai ben. I'm pretty sure esse is just like katakana. Esse Kansai ben. Let's double check that. I just want to make sure I'm not misteaching you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's esse in katakana. Here they write it in kanji, but yeah, it says usually written in kana alone, and I've normally seen it as katakana. So I'd learn it as katakana, but you could probably just use whatever. So they say, so Kansai people, when they hear like Tokyo people or whoever using a Kansai dialect that's not quite right, they'll call it esse Kansai ben, which is literally, as you've seen in this dictionary, esse means false, pseudo, basically fake. They say like it's a fake Kansai dialect. And like it's kind of sad because like, you know, if you're just from Tokyo but you've been living in Osaka for like several years, say for work, then like you're going to be influenced by the region you live in, right? Like if I move to the UK, I'm going to start saying some UK terms, or maybe my accent is going to start sounding a little bit more British in some areas. And like, yeah, it's not like British, but it's like, it's not, I'm not faking it. I'm not trying to pretend I'm from Britain. It's just naturally becoming like that. But yeah, sometimes Kansai people are ruthless and they'll say like, esse Kansai ben, like stop that shit. Like, yamero, sonna kimochi warui kara. Like it's weird. Stop pretending to be Kansai Jin. But conversely, luckily for us, when a foreigner tries to learn Kansai dialect and they're like speaking it, even though it's like very imperfect, they're like, oh, like that's so sweet. Like, you're a foreigner trying to learn Kansai dialect. Like, I'm so honored. Like, that's great. Your Kansai dialect is so good. That's amazing. You said nandeya, you said usoya. Like, it's perfect. Oh my goodness. And they're so supportive of like foreigners learning Kansai dialect because you're essentially going out of your way to learn it as someone completely unrelated to Japan. So it's a little advantage we have as learners. And a little bit sad for the non-Kansai people who just naturally want to learn some like Kansai dialect, but that is what it is. And in anime, it drives me nuts when non-Kansai people use, or voice actors, use it 100%. Like a lot of times, of course, like when English speakers watch anime, like we don't know what a Kansai dialect sounds like. Most of the time we don't even know what the Japanese, like the correct Japanese is. And for the Kansai dialect characters, they'll often just use like Tokyo people, like professional voice actors, but not from Kansai. And it'll sound weird. It's like if you hired me to do a British person, like to like voice act a British anime character, like it's not going to sound good. It's going to sound weird. Maybe from someone who doesn't speak English, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's a British person. Or like, it sounds different. But from a British person's perspective, they're like, what is this like awful British English? It sounds terrible. And that's basically the same for Kansai dialect in anime as well. So it's a funny little point. And like in Kaiju number 8. What's his name? He's one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character. But he has one flaw. I think it's this guy literally right here. Yeah, Soshiro Hoshina. So Hoshina Taisho. Hoshina Taisho. I think it's Taisho, but we'll just stick with Hoshina, Kaiju number 8. Yeah, so this guy right here, super badass, but like he has a fake Kansai accent. Like it's so bad that even I can tell it's fake. It's like, I'm pretty sure fake. Like if it's not fake, then I just look really bad right now. But it sounds like no Kansai accent I've ever heard. So it's either like someone who's not Kansai is saying it, or someone who is Kansai is saying it, but they're changing it because it's an anime and they're trying to make it like a character. But it sounds different. So a little fun fact for you guys. I remember that Kansai guy in Detective Conan, Kudo Shinichi's rival friend. Yeah, I haven't actually watched Conan, but obviously it's like a huge anime out here. Yeah, there's almost always like one token Kansai guy in every anime. Like they're usually like a little sly, or like they're funny, or they're like a con man. It's just kind of like the sillier character. There's also the same one in like, what is it, Tokyo Swindlers? The very popular TV series that came out. And there's that one guy, this guy, if we can open image, a new tab. This guy on the right here. He's a Kansai person, and he's a con man. Like they're all con men, but he's like especially like conny, like the way he speaks. He's just kind of like, you can tell he's like a smooth talker and just like trying to like smooth talk his way into like tricking you into something. And he uses a Kansai accent, but it's not a real Kansai accent. It sounds really legit to me, to my ears, but for real Kansai people, like they're like, yeah, it's not a real Kansai dialect. But like one person said, like it sounds like legit, like it doesn't sound stupid, you know. So yeah, just these little fun facts you notice when you start learning the language. You start recognizing different dialects as well. All right, so shall we get to our next question? So what tips would you have for a 15-year-old trying to learn Japanese to be conversational level by 18? Though preferably sooner, and is also considering moving to Japan after college. So you're 15 and you want to be conversational by 18, though preferably sooner, and you're considering to go to Japan after college. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, like the tips aren't going to change. Like if you're just starting out, like you can watch my video on how to start Japanese from nothing. And you like just do that. Like if you're 15 or 25 or 35, even 65, 75, like the advice is not really going to change. Like if you're 5, then it's going to be a little bit different. You probably wouldn't be like watching a YouTube video right now if you're 5, but if you were 5, then yeah, the advice is a bit different because you're still really young and your brain is a lot more flexible. You can pick up the language more easily, naturally, and then you can just immerse, listen to lots of Japanese, and it would probably, become fluent naturally. But at 15, while you're still young, you're mostly an adult. Like your brain is still mostly developed. And at that point, you're going to benefit the most from actively studying like an adult. And that's what I teach in my videos, like how to learn from nothing. You're going to want to learn your kanji, grammar, vocab, all that good stuff. Practice listening, practice speaking after you have a good foundation. And yeah, I mean, if you're 15 and you want to be conversational by 18, I normally say conversational is about N3 level. And N3 is definitely obtainable in 3 years' time. Like that's a totally reasonable timeline, especially because you're thinking about moving to Japan after college. So you'll be 18, hopefully conversational, and then you'll have maybe another 4 years of college, and then you want to move to Japan. That's fantastic. You just have another 4 years of getting better at Japanese, and you can become above conversational, maybe even like fluent. And then you move to Japan, and then it just becomes significantly better, and you're already at a great place to like interact with people and make friends. So first of all, great job that you're planning already at 15 years old. That's fantastic. Second of all, the advice is going to be mostly the exact same. You might be able to benefit a little bit more from more immersion just because your brain is probably still more flexible than a fully grown adult, but I would still lean more towards actively studying and then just have some, passive listening on the side as well. But yeah, the advice doesn't truly change, but it's definitely achievable to get conversational in 3 years and then totally fluent, like very fluent by the time you go to Japan after college. Yeah. So the main thing is just to stick with it and study a little bit every day. And if you study just a little bit every day for 3 years, you're great. All right. Try to get through another question. Try to get through these questions. I try to give, detailed answers, but I know the more detailed I go, the less questions I can get to. So I'll try to like get through as many as I can when I'm riding that wave. Excuse me. So, hello, I'm planning on moving to Japan in a few years. I'm in 8th grade right now. I'll move there for college and I need some help with how to note down Japanese and tips to learn kanji. So please help me. From EA the Gamer. Well, EA the Gamer, thank you for being active in chat. Thanks for asking your question. So, planning on moving to Japan in a few years. I'm in 8th grade right now and I need help there for college. So I'm assuming you're 8th grade, you're going to do high school in your home country. And then after high school, you want to go to Japan for college. So essentially you want to get as proficient in Japanese as possible in this 4 years or 5 years time stretch, and probably fluent enough to go to college, right? Because you're going to need to be able to learn in Japanese unless you're taking an English course. So first of all, if you want to learn kanji, so the same video applies, the one I linked earlier, how to learn Japanese from nothing. For sure, that'll like cover all your bases and you can get going. And then you can watch all my other videos on how to proceed from there. And if you want to learn kanji specifically, I have another video specifically on how to learn kanji. Yeah, Andrew, thank you for linking it. So we have the kanji video and the nothing video right there. And so yeah, check those out for how to get started and how to learn kanji in particular. And yeah, if you're moving to Japan for college, I'd probably recommend you get to an N2 level at least, because, college is hard enough as it is. Like going to college and doing it in a second language, and it's a language like Japanese, which is so different, and there's kanji. Like, okay, I don't know what field you're in, but like I did science in university. Now imagine doing science, like you're learning organic chemistry. That was already like destroying people at my university. But imagine doing that and it's in Japanese. Like you only like kind of know the language and there's like all these like kanji that you don't know and these characters, and the professor teaches in Japanese. Like your brain is just gonna hurt. So like to minimize that as much as possible, you want to get as good in Japanese as possible. So it's great that you're planning ahead. So you are gonna want to study like pretty diligently for these 4 years to get to at least an N2, ideally an N1 level, to which you're not going to struggle so much with the language that you can have enough leeway to struggle with the content you're being taught. You know, you don't want to double down on the struggle with the language and the content. Like, that's just going to be really tough. Yeah. And so watch those videos. And then if you have any specific questions after you've watched them and you've been studying for a little bit, then yeah, feel free to ask them and I can help try to guide your path. But I mean, first of all, like, great that you're looking into this very early. You're doing a great job. And how much time do I need to study per day so I can pass N4 at the end of the year? If you're starting from nothing and you're starting now, that gives you like a little less than 5 months. N4, you'd probably want to study at least an hour a day. Good studying, like the boring shit, kanji, grammar, vocab. To be safer, I'd go 2 hours, hour and a half maybe, of good studying. And you could probably do it. Is there any other fully funded scholarships besides MEXT? I'm not sure. You'd have to look into that. I never did any scholarships, but MEXT is the most famous one that I'm aware of. And they cover everything. I'm not sure. Actually, is it just... I don't think it's just science. I think it's a wider field. So I think that's like the main one for all. But there are other scholarships that might not be fully funded, but you'd have to look into it because I'm not an expert. I'm going to ICU next year, which teaches you Japanese. ICU, like the intensive care unit in a hospital. Does that teach you Japanese, or is that like a university? Like IC University, and they have a Japanese course? Because I don't know if the ICU is going to teach you anything unless it's the hospital in Japan. And Neospatian with the 20 gifted memberships. What is up? Coming out here with a bang. Probably coming off of a hot win again from either Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or other. Out here clapping some people. And good morning, Tokuyuu and everyone. I'm out at a Yu-Gi-Oh Nationals for day 2 this morning and just dropping in. Yeah, Sasuga, you are at a Yu-Gi-Oh Nationals for day 2. Let's go. It means you made it past day 1. If it's like other tournaments I'm aware of, like, as the days go on, more and more people drop out, and it's usually only like a 3-day tournament kind of thing. So day 2 is already like you're high up there, and it's a Nationals. So everyone wish Neospatian the best of luck at his Yu-Gi-Oh Nationals tournament. And, you know, hopefully he rakes in all that money after beating some chumps. And congratulations to anyone who received a gifted membership from Neospatian. He's definitely one of the biggest benefactors of the channel. Huge supporter, always coming out here showing his love, even when he's out at a tournament. Last time he was on an airplane and it was like about to take off, and then he was watching the stream from airplane Wi-Fi. So straight homie. So yeah, everyone wish him the best of luck. Yeah, I placed 103rd of 2,060 in the States, competing in about an hour. Damn, 103 out of 2,000. 2,000 is a massive tournament. Holy moly. Let's go. Top 5%. A top 5% Yu-Gi-Oh player of people who show up to tournaments. And that's already like, you know, there's usually better people who show up to tournaments than like the general population who play. So top 5% of a tournament, Nationals, is epic. So competing in an hour, good luck. You got this. Everyone send your parade emotes to Neospatian. All right, let's try to move on to the next question. So my JLPT N4 exam went well, but preparing for N3 feels like a mountain in comparison. Which resources and plan do you recommend? Yeah. So typically at the end of the day, whatever you did to get to N4 is mostly what you need to do for N3 and beyond, right? So when you got, first of all, great job for the N4 exam. I'm glad that it went well. It sounds like it passed, you passed, and you felt comfortable. You felt confident about it. And yes, like N3 is gonna feel heavy. And let me pull up why. Contents in each JLPT level. Make the screen bigger. All right, can we see that? I think we can see that. So I think this is cumulative. Yes, it's cumulative. So for N4, which you just did, for vocab, let me increase the size a bit more. So for the JLPT exam, every level that you get better, there's more and more content and exponentially more content, right? So N4, you only had to learn 1,500 words and 300 kanji, okay? So 1,500 words, 300 kanji for N4. And now you're saying N3 feels like a mountain. And the reason it feels like a mountain is now you need to know 3,700 words. Okay, it's cumulative, so it includes the 1,500 you already knew, but that's still more than double what you know, right? Everything you've learned up till now, you have to learn the same amount and a bit more. And the same for kanji. Like now it's, let me get this scroll down here. So now it's 650 characters and you learned 300. So all the kanji you learned, 300, you have to learn that all over again. Look, not the same ones, but the same amount and a little bit more. That's why it feels like a mountain, like legitimately so. Like you are exponentially needing to learn more and more content. But at the end of the day, even though the amount of content goes up exponentially, your ability to study also goes up exponentially. So the amount of time it took you to learn your first 1,500 words and 300 kanji in Japanese is going to be the slowest it'll ever be, because you had to learn how to learn new words. You're like, okay, what's the best way to do it? Maybe Anki. Okay, maybe Anki didn't work for me that way. I'll try this like resource. Maybe I'll try like watching this and like taking notes. And same for kanji. Like, hey, well, I don't know what a freaking kanji is to begin with. Like, what are they? You had to do background research and then, okay, figure out what the best study method is for you. And it takes a long time. And then even when you get started on the studying, it takes a while because you're not used to learning characters. But after you've learned the first chunk, like that is the hardest part, the first chunk. And then you just have to essentially keep going. You take your knowledge from what you learned on how to learn Japanese and you just keep going. So what helps you get to 300 kanji, and like your N4 exam went well, so it seemed like you learned them very well. You just have to keep doing that. Whatever study method you were doing, you just keep doing that. And it's all about keeping it up. The hurdle is that as you progress, that progress is going to feel slower. Even though you're studying and you are learning more characters, more vocab faster, the progress is going to feel slower because you're learning so much more content that isn't used as much as the first few words, first few hundred words, first few hundred characters that you learn. They become less and less relevant, but they're still very useful and you should know them. So that's why the progress will feel slower, but you're still progressing and you're even progressing faster in reality, but it's just going to take more patience because it's not going to feel like you're making progress. And you just honestly, you have to keep doing what you've been doing. You know, it's the unsexy answer, but that is what it is at the end of the day. You just got to keep putting your repetitions in and you will get better. Yeah. And if you have any like specific questions or anything in particular that's tripping you up, feel free to like, you know, ask a follow-up question. But at the end of the day, great job learning N4 and you just got to keep going. Have a sip of water, my Tomodachi. I will in fact do that. Appreciate it. Why is your voice same as the ASMR improvement video? I don't know, but if this person is doing ASMR with their voice, I'm honored that you think it sounds similar. I don't think I have a particularly good radio voice, but I think the mic also helps. Very good quality mic, and you know, try to make the audio settings as good as possible. But I do need to drink water every once in a while because it gets dry out here. All right. I will refresh the inbox so we can look at any new questions we have. Love to see you guys messaging in chat and conversing with each other. One of the main reasons why I'm doing these streams is so we can build a little community where you guys can connect with each other. Let me find the next one. All right. Let me just extend this a little bit more. All right. Hi, Tokuyuu. I think I would guess if it's French, it's Guy. maybe, or it's just Gills and I'm overthinking, or it's Gillis. I'm really sorry. Definitely, I know you. I don't know if you have told me the pronunciation yet, but if you haven't, feel free to throw it in the chat so I know and I can like remember it for next time. But my apologies for not knowing the pronunciation of your name. But I'm trying to move to Japan either as a teacher or as a Japanese language student with employment support and everything. For teaching, I can't work as an ALT because I'm a francophone. Okay, so it's Gi. Probably Gi. So I can't have the instructor visa. I can only look at eikaiwas or so, and for studying Japanese, I need a lot of money. I am really actively doing stuff to make this project happen. Any thoughts or advice? Excuse me. Yeah, so that is a tricky part about having to move to Japan. So obviously the easiest way into Japan, we all know it, you teach English, right? Like Japan wants to learn English, and you as someone who has maybe a degree in like the arts or like random science, whatever, you're not qualified, you don't have any job experience, you don't speak any Japanese. What's the easiest way to get in the country? You teach English, right? But the tricky part is that if you are a francophone, like you don't have a native English background, you're not qualified to be an ALT for certain schools or certain programs. I think the JET program requires you to be a native speaker. So you can only do eikaiwa, which is like English conversational practice, like separate schools, like specifically learning English schools, conversational practice schools, not like high schools, middle schools, whatever. So that limits your job opportunities. And a lot of the eikaiwas don't necessarily pay as well. So it can be kind of challenging. And alternatively, another common way to get into Japan is to come as a Japanese language student. You come to Japan to learn Japanese. Makes sense. But it does cost a lot of money, because if you're a full-time student, you're not working, which means you're not making money. And you're living in a foreign country and you are paying bills. Like you can't live with your parents because you're in a foreign country. You're paying rent, you're paying food every day. You want to travel a little bit and enjoy your time in a foreign country. So you're paying travel expenses and going out expenses, eating out, whatever. And you have to pay tuition. It's like there are all these minuses when you have to come to Japan as a student as well. Great experience, but so many expenses. So I do feel for you. Really trying to make this happen. Any thoughts or advice? Yeah. So at the end of the day, as you know, you need a lot of money to go to a Japanese language school. I mean, there's no other way around it. I think on some student visas, you can work a part-time job. So that's one way you can stop the bleeding a little bit, but you will be busy and you'll have less time to travel and like hang out with your school friends or Japanese people, whatever, because you might be finishing school and then you're going to work at 7-Eleven and work a shift or work at an izakaya, whatever. So yeah, I think you are allowed to work part-time hours. I think there's a limit, maybe only like 20 hours a week, something like that. But you will stop the bleeding a little bit, but you're still going to probably be in the minus with rent and tuition and food and all that. So that only slows the bleeding. Another thing you can do, obviously, is save up money before coming to Japan, which I do recommend. Like if you're going to school especially and paying tuition, like you want to save up like thousands of dollars really and be comfortable coming to Japan because you want to enjoy your experience. You want to enjoy your experience. You don't want to come here and like be like living on like the borderline poverty line and like you came here to enjoy yourself and you're like, well, I don't know if I can like have this meal with you guys because like I'm dirt cheap. It's like I'm dirt poor and like it's not gonna be fun, right? So you want to save up as much money as possible. And yeah, I'd say like ultimately if you want to be living in Japan long term, then you're gonna need to find a job in Japan. And that way you can live in Japan and you're getting paid and you can pay your expenses, right? So yeah, it just depends what your long-term goal is. If you're trying to move here as a teacher or Japanese language student, yeah, again, it depends what your long-term goal is. Are you trying to move here for like a year or two or like half a year? Then yeah, like just save up a good chunk of money, come here, have your experience. Hopefully you don't need to work so many part-time job hours and you can enjoy yourself and then you can go home and you've learned Japanese and you've had a great experience. But if you're trying to live here long term, like beyond 2 years, then you're probably going to need a plan to figure out what kind of job you want to do in Japan long term. Maybe Eikawa could do it, but they're probably not going to pay a lot. So if you want to live here long term, you probably want to pivot out of Eikawa eventually if you're going to start there. And that's going to require you to learn Japanese, either through self-studying or through the language school. Yeah. And then you're going to have to plan what kind of job you want to do in Japan. But I mean, it sounds like, you clearly can speak really good English, and you're probably a French native speaker. And if you learn Japanese, then you're trilingual, and that's fantastic. Just being like English Japanese bilingual is already like really powerful. So if you can learn Japanese to a proficient level, you'd be very well off finding jobs. And Andrew, moving to Japan this April. Congratulations and good luck with the move. When you say this April, I'm guessing you mean like the April in next year, so maybe in like 9 months time. But that's exciting. Congratulations on having that planned out. That'll definitely be a very fun experience. Thank you. Yes, 9 months. That's very exciting. And gives you lots of time to learn as much Japanese as you can, because, however much Japanese you can learn is just going to enhance your time here exponentially. So good luck with the preparations. Try to learn as much Japanese as you can, and good luck with the move eventually. And yeah, let us know like what you're moving here for. Are you doing school or working here? I'm sure it's going to be an exciting next chapter of your life. Let me try to find the next video. Sorry, next video. I mean next question. Let's go from here. Okay, you guys can see that. Yeah. So yeah, hi. I've been dreaming of coming to Japan, so I started learning Japanese. I was able to finish hiragana and katakana in about a week, and the real problem for me is kanji and grammar. Yeah, kanji and grammar are going to be the toughest, I'd say, for new learners. First of all, congratulations learning hiragana and katakana in a week. That's like really good time. And yeah, kanji is going to be more challenging because whereas hiragana and katakana are like 96 characters in total, kanji, there's about like 2,000 plus of them. And it's just like, it's a totally different beast. And, they have different readings and all that. So, at the end of the day, like I linked it before, the video on kanji. So I'll post that in the chat again. And I also have a video on grammar. Don't know if the bot is going to let me link 2 videos at the same time. Okay, it did. So yeah, the videos are there for kanji and grammar if you're struggling with those in particular. I list my resources and methods of learning them. But at the end of the day, like if you can learn hiragana and katakana, then like you have probably a good study ethic, and you just have to like do it every day. And that's what kanji is. Like, yeah, there are 2,000 of them, and it feels like a lot, but you just chip away at it every day, and you go at it, one day at a time. Like you just focus on learning the first, 10 kanji. And it's going to be the hardest 10. Like I was saying earlier, like the first few vocab and kanji you learn are going to be the toughest because you're not used to studying them. But once you learn how to learn them, then it gets easier. So yeah, just focus on learning, say, the first 10 kanji, figure out like what they are, but the best way to study it, how to learn like the vocab associated with them, and then go from there. And just like, then you can set up your schedule and like get it going on a daily habit. And same with grammar. It's going to be tough because it's totally backwards from English, and you have to kind of change your way of thinking. So again, just take it like chapter by chapter, essentially. Like it's going to feel overwhelming at first. You're like, okay, what are particles? Why is the verb always coming at the end? Why do Japanese people omit all these words? Like I have no idea what's going on. Like I haven't even learned the grammar yet, and they're already like leaving it out of the sentence. Like how am I supposed to learn this? Like it's overwhelming at first, and you just got to learn it chapter by chapter. Like it's a lot less intimidating when you learn one piece at a time. And again, the first few grammar points you learn are going to be the toughest, and then you'll slowly get more and more used to learning grammar. And as you build up a foundation of understanding of Japanese through grammar, the next grammar will make more sense because it just fits into this puzzle piece that you're building, which is the Japanese language. And you just slowly keep going from there. But yeah, check out my videos if you want to learn like specific resources that I recommend and how I recommend studying. And yeah, just take it day by day and keep going at it. And good work so far on hiragana and katakana. Low key, there isn't enough kanji. It's small. Nano mask out here talking smack, saying Japanese. Kanji is not challenging enough. You guys need to put more out there. And there are more kanji out there. If you want to learn more than 2,000, I think there's like at least 10,000 kanji in existence. I mean, they start to get very irrelevant after like the first 2,200. But I mean, if it's not enough, then you can keep studying. And then you can take like the kanji kente, like the kanji test that they have here. And then you can be like a freaking pro, you know, a foreigner learning Japanese, and you know more kanji than the average Japanese person. So yeah, if you have that yoyu, that leeway to like learn more, it's out there for you. But for sure, like you will learn it. It is a finite number of characters, and you just keep going at it and you will learn them. I learned the kana in the beginning of this year and started learning 5 kanji a day, and after 1 week I quit. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, good for you for setting up a schedule. It is hard to stick to it because, you know, 5 kanji a day is still like a lot to do every day. So, I mean, if it's still like, if it feels like a lot, drop it down to 2 kanji a day. You know, I mean, maybe something's going on in your life and you just cannot do it right now. And if that's the case, totally fair. But if you feel like I could probably do it, I'm just kind of lazy, then don't be afraid to drop it down to just 2 kanji a day and make it something that you can stick to on a daily basis. Because even 2 kanji a day, every day, you're gonna learn a lot of kanji. Like you're gonna learn all the N3 kanji by the end of the year, right? Like 2 kanji a day for a year, which is 365 days. You're gonna learn about 750 kanji, which is more than N3. That's really good. You don't need to like feel bad for setting your target too low. Like it's still good enough. So I mean, that's the whole thing about setting up schedules. But again, like, I don't know, something probably came up in your life and it's like busy, of course, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's all about setting what a reasonable amount is to do every day. And Koshi, I signed my job contract last week, waiting for my COE, which is certificate of, what is the E again? Certificate of eligibility, which is essentially like a certificate that your job applies for from the Japanese government, which then means that you are eligible to come to Japan and live there with a visa and hopefully move in August. Wow. So that's next month. That's really exciting. Congratulations, Koshi. Like, congratulations signing the job contract. That's amazing. So you're moving like from outside of Japan into Japan for this job? Because if so, that's amazing. Like, congratulations. And like, everyone wish Koshi the best of luck moving here and with his new job. That's fantastic. Good for you. 50,000. There's 50,000 kanji? Dead ass? How many kanji in existence? Yeah, well, thanks for the fact check. Jesus Christ. There are well over 50,000 kanji in existence, with some comprehensive Chinese dictionary containing upwards of 85,000. That's actually absurd. Damn. That's kind of funny. So there's the 2100 like daily conversation called Joyo kanji, and then there's Jinmeo kanji. These are additional characters officially approved for use in Japanese names. So you're only allowed to use the daily conversation kanji and this additional like 860 kanji for names. Like any other kanji, they're like, no, you're not allowed to use that for names. That's funny. I thought you could just like use whatever kanji you want. It's like, it's their name. You can just like make it whatever you want and you just say the reading is whatever. That's funny that you're not allowed to use anything else. But I guess they need to have like printing rules and whatever. But that's kind of funny. 50,000's a lot. Yo, what's up, man? You don't stream often. Guess life has been busy. What is up, Tactical Cookie? Well, I've been doing the stream every 2 weeks for the past couple months. I mean, that's just the pace I've been going at. Probably it's been like maybe 4 months or so because it's stream 11, right? So that's technically 5 months, I think, if I'm doing it every 2 weeks. yeah, that's just the pace I've been going at. And yeah, definitely been busy making videos. So I mean, once every 2 weeks is kind of the pace that works for me. And it's always Sunday at night. So if you can show up on Sunday nights, then I'm here every other week. So appreciate you dropping in again, though. Nice to see your name again. Currently doing 5 kana a day. Today I was on Sashi Suse So. Awesome. That's amazing. And yeah, great pace. 5 kana a day. Fantastic. Good job, Nano Musk. And Koshi being optimistic, it takes 1 to 3 months to get the COE. Yeah, it can take a while, but hopefully you get it as soon as possible and you can move quickly. But I mean, I'm sure your job understands that the COE is going to take time. So your job, I mean, you sign the contract, you should be like all good to go. You know, just a matter of what time you get in. So that's awesome. And JLPT listening exam kind of bombed it. Recommend ways to improve. Yeah, I have a video on listening. If you watch that and have any other questions, feel free to ask me. And we will try to get on to our next question. So this is kind of unrelated to Japanese, but what do you think about adding higher tier memberships for people who are interested in supporting the channel more? They can get additional perks, higher chance to get their questions answered during streams, connect on social media like Discord, maybe asking questions once a week. This neither a language nor life Japanese question, just sending it here if you don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to send it at any other timing. But I mean, first of all, appreciate you wanting to like send your support. Yeah, support more and get more perks out of it. Totally makes sense. Higher chance to get their question answered during streams, connect on social media. Yeah, totally. I mean, these are things I do want to do. Like I do want to start a Discord, you know, for anyone to join. And then, yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense to have like higher tier memberships, people who like support the channel more, get like more time with me to like ask questions and like, you know, connect with me, you know, maybe just like chat casually. Yeah, totally. Things I do want to do. Just like right now, I'm really focusing on trying to get videos uploaded on a regular basis. So I'm doing the streaming right now and I have the membership set up, but I want to do the Discord. Yes, please. Andrew, I'm glad you're interested in the Discord too. I do want to set up the Discord. Yeah, it's just a matter of like prioritization. Like I'm really trying to get the videos out. But I do want to make a Discord. It's on my whiteboard. And then yes, in the future as well, like tiered memberships for like better perks and all that good stuff. So it is definitely on the whiteboard to do. It's just, yeah, a matter of getting the videos down first and then getting to it. But yeah, Discord, yeah, I do want to get that set up in the very near future for sure. I just know once I set it up, there's going to be maintenance as well. And like, I want to like get the channels all good and like, I want to be active as well. So I just want to make sure I'm not overloading myself before I'm actually getting my videos out. Because, you know, my videos are like, you know, my main product, right? I want to make sure that those are in the right place first before I add all these additional things on top. So appreciate your patience with it. And I really appreciate you wanting to support the channel and, you know, ask questions and, you know, get connected. I really appreciate it. So thank you for asking a lovely question. And it is something that's in my mind and I appreciate you bringing it up. So yeah, it's noted. Thank you. Thank you. This is 9:53. So we got 7 more minutes of Japanese language related questions. Let's see here. Next question. You guys can see that. Yes, yes. Do you have or have you ever studied pitch accent? And how important do you think it is? Do Japanese people get confused if Gaijin's pitch accent is off? Good question. Yeah. Yeah. So how important is pitch accent in Japanese? So pitch accent is like, I'm sure you know, as whoever you're asking the question, but for those of you who are maybe less aware, so in Japanese, first of all, in English, we don't have pitch per se. English is a stress-based language. So when we say words like, let me put this on here. Feet. Okay. I actually spelled that wrong because I was focusing on the capitals. So this word right here, photography. So when we speak in English, we put stresses on words. So photography. So this word, this syllable, I should say, becomes louder and longer. photography. It's louder and longer than all the other syllables in the word. And say we put the stress on the first one, like it would be photography, photography, photography. But it's photography. Like in English, we have these accents or these stresses, to be accurate. And same with a word like this one, which is an interesting one, which we'll talk about in a second. Emoji, right? Like the, emojis you write on your phone. Emoji. Again, it's that second one. It's not always the second one, but right here. Let me keep this in red just so we're consistent. So emoji. Emoji. The mo is louder and longer. So that's what we do in English. We put stresses on certain syllables. But in Japanese, is not the case. So what does Japanese do? Japanese is, as you could probably guess, not a stress-based language, but Japanese is a pitch-based language. So this word right here is emoji. So emoji, you may or may not know, is actually a Japanese word. Emoji. It has kanji. It literally means like drawn word, drawn text, drawing text, emoji. Kind of blew my mind when I learned that this was a Japanese word. Emoji. This is the kanji for it. Emoji. But so in Japanese, if you're saying the word emoji, it's not emoji. It's not emoji like we say in English. It's emoji. Emoji. It's like they're all even. So emoji. 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 There's no emoji. Emoji or emoji. Emoji. No, it's emoji. They're all even. But what Japanese does have is pitch. So let's use a different color here. So for emoji, this is what it looks like. So it is so Japanese doesn't put stress on letters or syllables. Japanese doesn't put let me make sure I don't stumble on this like very key point here. Japanese doesn't put stress on syllables, but they do often put pitch on certain syllables, right? So for emoji, which is emoji in Japanese, emoji, it's a high pitch on the first letter. Emoji, emoji, emoji. Versus if it was on the last one, it would be like emoji, emoji, right? Can you kind of hear like the G goes up, emoji? That would be if the pitch went up at the end here. Emoji, emoji, but it's emoji, emoji. And yes, so pitch accent is very important to sounding natural in Japanese. If you can get your pitch accent down, then you're gonna sound pretty much native in Japanese. But it can be tricky because Japanese people, of course, learn it when they're very young and they just pick it up naturally. So have I ever studied Japanese pitch accent? Only a little bit. I would say for the most part, it's very painful to try to learn pitch accent. Like if you learn, like there's, say, well, we have this page open here, right? So content for Japanese. You can see that vocab for N1, 10,000 words. Okay. And now imagine having to learn this pitch pattern for all 10,000 words. Like not only do you need to know, okay, what is the Japanese equivalent of this word for, say photography or emoji or like the other 10,000 words that I need to know. What is the Japanese word for them? I need to learn that. But now I need to learn the pitch pattern for each of them. Okay, emoji is like it starts at the top, but maybe a different word is emoji, like it's a different word, like kutsu, goes up. Okay, that means shoes, kutsu, and then you have to learn it for everything. Like you're just gonna like go crazy. You're gonna lose your mind. So that's why in the beginning, I recommend being aware that pitch accent exists, but I wouldn't get caught up in it. I wouldn't actively study it until you're at least beyond N3. Like it's good to be like having an ear for it. Like, hey, you kind of understand that there's a difference between emoji and emoji, and that different words behave differently, and then that the particle also changes pitch at the end. Dogen has a great video on pitch accent. Very recommend watching it. It's just like a 8-9 minute video on the introduction to pitch accent. I can honestly just look it up right here, just so you know, for your reference. Dogen pitch accent. Just a 9-minute video. Of course, Dogen is the pro at pitch accent right here. So Japanese pitch accent in 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 30 seconds there. You save 30 seconds as well. And he goes over all the different pitch patterns, and there's 4 of them. And you don't even need to like understand it totally, but it makes you aware. And once you're aware, you keep a better ear for it. And honestly, yeah, my pitch accent isn't perfect, but for most words, my pitch accent is correct. Just naturally, because I've been like speaking and listening to Japanese people speak, watching shows. As you learn Japanese and you hear it a lot, you naturally hear what the correct accent is. Like to eat is taberu. Taberu. Let me try to draw this one. Taberu. Where is this text going right now? There it is. Taberu. So to eat is taberu. And again, if we draw the pitch pattern for this one, it goes like this. It goes up in the middle and goes down, right? Taberu, taberu. It's not taberu or taberu. It's taberu, taberu. And I never studied that. I didn't know that, you know, to eat has a high pitch accent in the middle, but just hearing people speak all the time, taberu, nani taberu, nani tabetai. Like you always hear like taberu. It just sounds more natural. So a lot of times you'll just naturally pick up the right pitch accent, but it's good to be aware it exists. And you can also record yourself speaking. And if something sounds a little unnatural the way you say it, you can like really hone into it. Okay, why did that sound weird when I said it? And the more you learn Japanese, the more you have a better ear for this. Even listening to your own Japanese, you can tell when it sounds weird. Like, okay, that sounded a little awkward. I think I mispronounced that, or I could have used a better word there. In this case, maybe like the pitch accent was off. You can record yourself speaking Japanese and listen to it. And then you can really hone in and say, okay, I think I'm tending to always add a pitch on the second letter, but it's not always there. And okay, what can I do to improve that? And then you can like really like hone into it. But I would only focus on that from N2 and beyond. Like, I think you have much more important things to do before pitch accent, you know, before you reach N2 level. And to answer the second part of your question, do Japanese people get confused if a gaijin's pitch accent is off? So do Japanese people get confused if you don't have the right pitch accent? Sometimes they do. It depends. If you said taberu, nani taberu, nani taberu, nani taberu, like putting it on the first letter instead of the middle, they probably still know what you're saying. For the most part, they'll know what you want to say based on context and the rest of the words you say. But if all your words are like incorrect and you're just like, it's going to be hard for me to like reproduce it because it's just going to be really awkward to say. But if like all your words have the wrong pitch accents and it's just like, you don't really care, you haven't really been paying attention, you're just kind of like speaking because you want to like speak as quickly as possible, so you developed all these bad habits, then it is going to start getting hard for people to understand you. So that's why I recommend, like do lots of listening. Don't solidify, don't fossilize all your bad speaking habits right off the bat, just trying to get fluent and speaking as quickly as possible. Like learn properly, listen tons, and like slowly speak more and more. Ideally have Japanese friends or a tutor like correct some of the ways you speak, or like listen to how you speak and think, okay, why does that sound a little bit unnatural? How can I pronounce this better? And you know, inevitably you're gonna not sound perfect in the beginning, and that's okay. But just, you know, be conscious of it. And so you can slowly improve over time. Yeah. And I think it is important. It's okay to have an accent. In my opinion, it's okay to have an accent. It's not okay to be hard to understand. So it's okay to have an accent, but it's not okay to be hard to understand. And those are not mutually exclusive. They can both exist at the same time. Like imagine someone with like, you know, an Australian accent, like a nice soft Australian accent, or even like a nice soft Indian accent or whatever. As long as you are understandable, maybe you pronounce your R's a little bit differently, or like you have a little bit of intonation here that most speakers don't have. It's fine. As long as people can understand you, it's okay. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be understandable. And I think pitch accent is a key to that. You don't need to go for perfect, but you do need to understand how to sound more similar to a Japanese person. You need to be at least in the same ballpark. You can't be like trying to make your own language, like English speaker speaking Japanese, and you're just disregarding all the pronunciation rules. It's just going to sound terrible, and it's going to sound really hard to understand. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, great question on pitch accent. And there's my long-winded answer on it. And I see lots of questions in the chat. Hard to get to them. But what's your take on Wanikani for kanji? I think it's good. I've never used Wanikani personally, but I've heard great things about it. I have several friends who use it, and I think it's great. I think I have tried it before, and some of the vocab seemed a little irrelevant, which was the one thing that I wish, if I could improve, I would want that improvement. But in general, I think it's good. Like, I'm glad that it like organizes all the kanji for you, and then you just like study, and it does like the SRS for you, like the spaced review time. I think all that stuff is good, and if it works for you, then you should stick to it. Yeah. And I think they do like a free trial as well. Like, you either get like the first several kanji for free, or like you can like try it out for a while, so you can see if it works for you. But I think it's a good resource. It just matters if it works for you. And Boom Pro for grammar, I think Boom Pro is pretty good. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Boom Pro. Yeah, they teach some of the grammar themselves, and they also link you to a lot of different grammar pages, but I think it's pretty good, and it organizes a lot of stuff for you, which is good. I don't know all these resources. I don't know what Benkyo is. Never heard of that one. But it is 10:06, so it is time to move on to our life in Japan related questions. So any questions you have about life in Japan, feel free to send them. And we can chill in the chat for a few minutes while we get to it. Koshi says, I really love their mnemonics. Wanikani, yes. Yeah. It is great that they have preloaded mnemonics as well, because having to make your own mnemonics for all the kanji and vocab can get a bit tedious. So, I mean, sometimes pre-made mnemonics don't really work that great for you, because everyone's experiences are different. Everyone's mind works differently. So the memory techniques are going to be different as well. But a lot of times they are usable, or you could just adjust it a little bit and then it's usable for you. And it is just nice having pre-made ones. Yeah, EA the gamer, I'm with you, bro. I don't know half the apps y'all are saying. Me too. There's so many apps out there for learning Japanese. And Yusef, what's up? Nice to see your name in chat. And what textbook should I use after completing Genki series? Tobira is a popular one. Tobira. It is a big jump from Genki. It's like all in Japanese. So you're gonna have to be grinding through it a little bit. But if you like textbooks, it could be a good next step. Let's see if I can reload this. Oops. I will have to reopen the Q&A because I tried to load the next question and she crashed. She crashed real good. But yeah, we can reload it and it's here. Okay, piracy is common in my country, but in Japan, teenagers can't really watch some 16 plus, 18 plus anime and manga unless they somehow pay for it. I'm not sure about piracy culture in Japan. I do think it's less common though. Like, I know a lot of people I know back in Canada do pirate. They're pirates out here. Whether it's for like Netflix or it's like watching other shows or movies or whatever subscriptions. Yeah, very common in the West, I think. But less so common in Japan for as far as I know. People like do watch like Netflix and they pay for it. And in terms of like, you know, R-rated anime manga, I'm not sure. I think they are stricter on it, just like in general for content, which is, you know, not a bad thing. Like, you know, it helps the artists and the creators get paid for what they make. But yeah, I guess sometimes it can be expensive for the average person. So Yeah, not sure specifically about piracy culture in Japan, but my impression is that it's less common. Yeah, I can maybe ask my Japanese friends next time I see them. What's Japanese memes like? What's their meme culture? Yeah. I'm not an expert on Japanese meme culture. Like, still most of my social media feed is the West, like it's very English, and then maybe like 10-20% of it is Japanese, so I don't see like all the Japanese memes. But honestly, like, humans are humans. Like, a lot of the memes are the same. And I was literally watching a video today. It was really funny. It's like, okay, what was it? It was like reporter calls someone a pill bug. Essentially was the video. Yeah, it's this one here. It's this top one. So Non-chan calls Yamaguchi-san a pill bug. Yeah, so like essentially what it is, like there's like the newscaster on like the left here, the woman, and like she's reporting on like the pill bugs. Like I forget what it was in Japanese, but it's essentially like bugs that like are common in Japan, and it's probably like the summer, it's like the season for them to come out, and they're just like reporting on it. And they hired this expert here on the right, this expert on pill bugs, and she's like, she wanted to say like, and off to like Yamaguchi-san, who is like the pill bug expert and will teach us more about them, but she accidentally said, and off to Yamaguchi-san, the pill bug, who will teach us more. And like, so she like essentially called him the pill bug accidentally, like just through her words. And then he's like, Non-chan, okay, I'll give the explanation, but just for the record, I'm not a pill bug. And then they're like laughing, like, oh no, sumimasen, no, that's not what I meant. Like I mistaken my words. I didn't mean to call you a pill bug. I'm so sorry. And then I read one of the comments, and like the comment was like one of the things that made me think like, oh, okay, humans are the same everywhere we go. We make the exact same jokes. Like the commenter in Japanese said like, I'm not a pill bug. It's exactly what a pill bug would say. And it's like, they said that in Japanese, and it's like, that's literally a comment I've seen so many times in English, like in the West as well. It's like these kind of moments where it's like, that's the kind of thing that a pill bug would say, or like, this is the kind of thing that like a guilty person would say. Like it's like same humor. Like we're all human. We all find the same things funny. Yeah, comedy culture is a little bit different in Japan. They have like slapstick comedy. They don't have a lot of stand-up comedians. Like there's very few pingeini. There's very few solo comedians in Japan. They usually do mansai, so two people, like one person being the straight man, one person being like the silly man, and they kind of like have this dialogue. That's the most common comedy style in Japan. Whereas in the West, we typically have solo comedians. So there's like some cultural differences, but for the most part, like a lot of the memes are the same. I couldn't tell you what's trending right now because like I'm not like deep in the trenches of anime meme or Japan meme culture, but a lot of it is the same. So as long as you understand the language and then you're in that social media for a while, then you'd probably understand a lot of the memes. It's a very similar sense of humor. And Take One Studios, what is up? The topic is life in Japan, and someone just asked about meme culture in Japan. So yeah, any life in Japan related questions you have, feel free to throw them in the Q&A. Yeah, this is a really funny video. It's very cute. Very cute. All right, next question. Let me try to extend this because it's a big one. And let me make it a full-size screen again. Okay, hello, Sri Lankan undergrad here. I study cybersecurity and currently am studying Japanese. Awesome. Wanted to ask is, 1, is it a good choice to enroll for an English taught IT master's degree and hope for employment there? I hear people studying English medium might impact the job hunting process, but I'm way more comfortable with English because I have bilingual proficiency in it. Okay, so like, yeah, you're Sri Lankan, so like you speak maybe Tamil or whatever, dialect in Sri Lanka as well as English, and you're still learning Japanese. And 2, in your general understanding, do you think coming to Japan for IT is feasible? Yep, for sure. So very common question. So first of all, number 1, good for English. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine to take your master's in English in Japan, especially if that's what you're comfortable with. Because yeah, like we were talking about early, like if you're going to a university and you're doing it in Japanese while you're not totally proficient in Japanese, like first of all, learning stuff out of university is already like a challenge. And then you have to learn it in a foreign language that you're not comfortable with, especially in Japanese, which is totally different. It's gonna just destroy you. So yeah, totally no shame in taking the degree in English, because like you want to succeed and you want to actually understand the things you're trying to learn here. My only advice would be to still study Japanese very hard. I don't think a degree in English, especially if you're getting a master's, that's awesome. I don't think the degree being in English is going to hurt you so much as a weak proficiency in Japanese is going to hurt you. Like if you get the degree, great, but if you still don't speak Japanese comfortably, it's going to be hard to find jobs in Japan, because the national language of Japan is Japanese, you know, big surprise. So if you don't speak the language comfortably, it's going to be hard to get a job here. So it's less about what language your degree was in, although I do think some companies would like it if you do your degree in Japanese. And I think if you want to get permanent residence later on, it gives you bonus points for doing it in Japanese. But I think you can make up for that by just taking the JLPT, so it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, take the degree in English if that's what you're comfortable with, but learn Japanese. Like, don't say like, okay, I don't need to learn Japanese as hard because I'm just doing the degree in English anyways. Still study Japanese. Like, it is 100% the most important thing you can do to have a successful life in Japan, especially careers. Yeah. And do you think coming to Japan for IT is feasible? Yes, I do. But again, learn Japanese. Yeah. And there's a lot of IT jobs here. Some are like not great, not unpaid, but underpaid, you know, like kind of slog kind of jobs where you're just like filling in like Excel spreadsheets or like doing some like, you know, very basic IT related stuff. And of course you want to probably build up from there. And the best way you can do that is to speak Japanese and English. And then of course doing your master's is a great way as well. And then just like try to build your career from there. Yeah, so that would be my advice. And Japanese meme culture, all I need to know is nani and anime. Yeah, I mean, that's Japanese meme culture for the West, not necessarily for Japanese people. Although sometimes, you know, they have anime meme culture here as well. And Koji, how difficult is it to get a driver's license in Japan? Public transport is top notch, but it'd be nice to own a car at some point. Yeah. So in Japan, you really don't need to own a car. That is the great thing about Japan. Like the Japanese transportation system is just god tier. Like I've never owned a car for the 4 years I've lived here, and I've never needed to own a car. Just take the train wherever I want to go. Across the country, doesn't matter. But sometimes it does help to have a car, because like if you're going into the really rural areas, then sometimes the train line is not connected or it's very poorly connected and you have to take buses, and sometimes the buses aren't even available and you need to take a car, or it's just significantly faster. It's pretty easy to transfer your driver's license depending on your country. So because I was Canadian, and Canada and Japan have, I guess, an agreement, or like Canada is an approved country for driving, I could just take my Canadian driver's license and like switch it day of. No, I didn't have to take a test. I didn't have to do a driver's test, written test or whatever. I just had to submit papers and wait at the freaking like Japanese DMV for like a full fucking day. Like that was painful. The processing is really slow. Same day, but really slow. But yeah, I just got the Japanese driver's license that day. They took my picture, printed it out, and now I have a driver's license. So yeah, look it up. It depends on your country. Even if like some countries like the States, it depends which state you're from for some reason. Some states are approved for driver's license in Japan. Like you just switched over like I did, and some you need to take another test to prove you can drive. I don't know why. I guess some states are a little bit looser with their driving rules, at least in the eyes of Japan. Couldn't tell you why, but that's how it is. So yeah, look up if your country or state requires you to take a test or not. If not, you can just switch it over day of. If so, you have to book a test and do it and pass, and learn all the Japanese driving rules. And I mean, you should learn that either way. But I guess you can be a little bit looser with it if you can just like get your driver's license. But you should still be aware of the rules of the road that you're driving in that country. But yeah, it's pretty easy depending on the location. And another great thing about Japan is that they have a lot of rental cars. They have a huge rental car culture here because the transportation system is so good. Like there are people who just don't own cars, and it's just so easy to rent a car here. Like I don't own a car, but sometimes I want a car, and it's just easier to travel that way. Like in December, I traveled in Nagano, like with my family. It was like a maybe 8-hour drive total, but like I wanted to stop along the way, and then like had my sister, her husband, and their child over, and it was just easier to have a big van and carry all their luggage instead of like carrying it on and off all the trains, on and off. Just leave it all in the car and drive wherever we want to go. And yeah, I just rented a car for a week and then went and then dropped it off and done. I don't need to pay for the whole car. I don't need to pay for insurance every month. And it's just like in and out. Very convenient. So yeah, Japanese transport is top notch. Also assuming the Japanese DMV asked for hand-filled out paperwork signed in your first child's blood. Yeah, I mean, they are ridiculous out here, Kaylin, bro. Like, Japanese paperwork kills me. I was in that DMV for legit like 8 hours. So dumb. And like I had all the documents. I called ahead of time. I had a booked appointment. Like you book a time in advance to go and you just like hand out your paperwork. But it was so painful. And they wanted like printed records of me driving in Canada. I'm like, who has that? Who has printed records of driving in Canada? Like, what does that even mean? But like, because I didn't have that, like I had to get like a beginner's license instead of like a full experience license, which like I've been driving for like 10 years. So I should have like the experience license, but I had to start off on a beginner license. No restrictions or anything. I just had to put on like the beginner sticker on my car, like the little dunce cap beginner sticker in Japan. Like they have this beginner sticker that it just means that you're not good at something or you're a beginner, mostly for cars when you're a learner. I had to have this on like any car I drove for the first year. They also use this mark for anything, like if you're a beginner with like whatever, you know, like whatever skill or sport or whatever. Sometimes they'll use it in that context too. But yeah, I just, because they wanted the records, printed records of like my driving experience, like who has that? And then like all this paperwork you got to fill out, and I had to like look up, like I had to go on the Canadian government website to find like this proof of like whatever, and I was like, oh my god, bro, Japanese DMV was hell. But it was one day at least, and I got my driver's license, so we're okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're aware of government inefficiencies, especially car related ones, transport, etc. All right, try to move on to the next question, and thank you, Kaylin, for showing up. Appreciate you all the time. Let's see what we can find here in the inbox. I'm gonna have to refresh. Oh, okay. Again, I think I try to load the question too quickly, and when I load the question too quickly, the program crashes. So let me just pull that back up. This is a funny question. Who's winning the World Cup first to fourth? Canada is out and Japan got first rounded. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, Japan faced Brazil in the first round. It's kind of too bad. Unlucky draw. Canada made it to the second round, which is pretty sick, the best they ever did, but then lost to Morocco. You know, they had a good draw because they're the hosts, but you know how it is. Do your friends still follow the World Cup after Japan's elimination? Yeah, I think people do still follow it, but like obviously with less enthusiasm because Japan's out. And like all the games in Japan are like at 4 a.m. It's the freaking worst. Watching the World Cup in Japan is the worst right now because all the games are 4 a.m., 6 a.m. If you're lucky, the occasional game is at 10 a.m., but that's literally like 1 in 10. 1 in 10 games are at 10 a.m. and all the rest are, majority of them are at 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 2 a.m. And that's a terrible time to start watching a 2-hour game. So I've not been watching any live games. I've just been watching the highlights. But yeah, first to fourth, we got France for sure. France #1. That'd be my #1 pick. I'm going to root for England. You know, got my English blood out here. I would love England to take it all, but if I had to say it objectively, probably France, England, and then third, fourth, well, we got Argentina, Spain. I'd say Spain, Argentina. I think Argentina is struggling lately. They're kind of like barely got by Cabo Verde, and like their next one, I can't remember who it was, but Egypt. They've been like struggling against like, you know, less famous soccer countries. So I have a feeling England's probably going to knock them out, and probably whoever next who they're going to face for third. And that's my prediction out here. Fun question, appreciate it. A little off topic, but yeah, it is kind of what's happening right now, right? Okay, how are religions viewed in Japan, especially Catholic, Christian, which is you, me. Yeah, good question. Right. So Japan looks like a very religious country, but they're not very religious. I would say Japan is spiritual, but not religious. Like, you would think they're religious because, you know, every time they eat, they always like put their hands together and say itadakimasu. And it looks like you're saying like, you know, amen for the food or whatever. But they go to temples and they pray at temples. Like, they'll like throw their coin in, ring the bell, they'll like bow twice, clap, and then they'll like close their eyes and like have their hands together, like praying. They're praying, and they're like head down, eyes closed, praying to a god, whoever the god is of the temple, like so a god of like fortune, or a god of for love, or god for like success, or god for good studies. And they believe in like that spirituality. So in that sense, they are religious, but they aren't actually devout to any particular religion. Like, they don't avoid any like foods, or they don't say like, oh, this, you know, sex before marriage is taboo because of this da-da-da religion. Like, there's none of that rules, an actual like association to a specific group like Christianity or like Buddhism or whatever. Most Japanese people are just spiritual, and they believe in, for the most part, I believe that they believe in spirits and gods in general, and like, you know, ghosts of the past, and good fortune, bad fortune, all that stuff. But they're not actually religious per se. So how would they treat a Christian or Catholic like you in Japan? For the most part, I'd say they're respectful. They're not going to make fun of your religion. But just be aware, if you have a religion and you're coming to Japan, you will be in the minority. And like, we're not talking a regular minority. Like, we're not talking a regular minority here. You're going to be like the tiny minority if you have a religion in Japan. Like, if you're Christian, which is a major religion around the world, in Japan, it's probably like, what's the Christian population in Japan? Like maybe 1% is my impression. Christian population in Japan, probably lower if I had to guess. Yeah, 1 to 1.5% of the total population. So like, that's a very small proportion. So essentially, you're not going to be accommodated in Japan. There are churches. I do see like Catholic churches, like in Osaka. Like, if you're in a big city, there'll be a church for you. But like in small towns, probably hit or miss if there's a church. And like say if you're any other religion, you have like food restrictions or whatever, like it's going to be hard to find like halal restaurants, like that kind of stuff, because there just aren't as many people who have religions in Japan. So there's less demand for it. So even though you're not going to be discriminated against actively in Japan for having a religion, you're going to be probably institutionally discriminated against, because they're just not going to accommodate you, because it's just uncommon. And I guess another thing is, maybe in like the West, it's okay to like promote your religion and like freedom of speech and all that. And there is freedom of speech in Japan as well. And, you know, there are people who promote Christianity and other religions in Japan. I've come across them like here and there. But for the most part, I don't think Japanese people want you coming to Japan and preaching your religion to other people. Like, you're seen as like a guest in their country, and they don't necessarily want you to like spread your religion to like their country and their population. I mean, Japan has had this history in the past. I'm no history major by any means, but they did have a lot of Christian missionaries coming into the past, like Nagasaki out here, like on the West Coast. Very big port city back in the day. It was like the one area of Japan that was open to trade for like the Portuguese and the Dutch. And there were missionaries that were coming into Nagasaki to like, you know, spread Christianity. And that's why Nagasaki does have a little bit of Christian influence, but the Japanese government like quickly clamped down on that. So like, no, like we're not doing that. Like Christianity is not allowed here. And I mean, this was like a couple hundred years ago, maybe a few hundred years ago. So like Christianity kind of just like stopped, you know, halfway in like Nagasaki. So there is like some Christian influence in Nagasaki. So if you want to like have some like, you know, Christian companions, Nagasaki could be like the best city for you. But in general, I think the Japanese mentality is they don't want like outsiders coming in and then preaching their religion, essentially like changing their culture. So, you know, just be respectful of that. Try not to like push your ways onto other people. If you just like, you know, practice your religion and it's like your way of life, I think Japanese people will respect that. And, you know, they'll have no issues with it. So yeah, it's just that balance of, you know, being respectful, knowing that you are a guest in their country. And of course, you know, maybe you want to spread the good word of your religion, but just be aware that it's good to also be respectful and not, you know, push it onto a different country's people, essentially. Yeah, so that's my response to that. And I'm watching you for Egypt. What is up? Thank you, Trafalgar. Appreciate you watching from Egypt. You guys did a great job against Argentina in the soccer game. Very, very good game. I'm sure that was a bit of a heartbreaker if you follow soccer at all. But you guys did a fantastic job. And thanks for tuning in from, I guess maybe it'd be a pretty reasonable time for you, right? Middle of the day on Sunday, because you're probably a similar time to a lot of Europe. Yeah, appreciate you watching. And Rohit, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you always coming out here supporting. You and Neo are just like the goats out here. Really appreciate it. Even though, you know, you're not always active in chat, I can tell you're out here supporting, watching, sending the gifted memberships as support. So really appreciate it all the time. Thank you so much, Rohit. Got the triple pedal going on, long-term member too. Hopefully that turns into a 4 pedal soon. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Take One Studios, Tokugawa Shogunate was a bit allergic to everything could disrupt internal order. Watch Silence from Scorsese for a good deepening on the topic. Oh, it's interesting. Silence. I didn't realize there was a whole movie on it. Silence, Scorsese. So it's what is this? 2 Catholic missionaries traveled to Japan in search of their missing mentor, Ferreira, who is believed to have been promoting Catholicism by going against the law. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, you know, Scorsese, obviously a very famous director. I think I did hear about this movie before. I didn't know it was called Silence. So that's awesome. Yeah, definitely would be a deep dive on the topic. So yeah, if you're a Christian in Japan and you want to learn more about Christianity, watch this movie. It's perfect. Catholic missionaries travel to Japan in search of their missing mentor, who is promoting Catholicism against the law. What could be a more accurate movie for what you want to know, you know? Yeah, so and 100%, like Tokugawa Shogunate, like a big shogunate back in the day, was allergic to anything that could disrupt internal order. 100%. Like the problem with religions, like it's great to have like diversity of thinking, and like Canada, like where I'm from, is a very big melting pot like society, but it does divide people in a sense that your beliefs are different if people have different religions. So I think that's why the Tokugawa Shogunate was allergic to it for sure back in the day, because, you know, if some people are Christian, that means other people are not, and it just kind of creates a divide in the country. And it was a time when, you know, unity in Japan was a little bit less stable, so I think they wanted to avoid anything that could disrupt that, as Take One Studio said. Yeah, that's a very good point. And I was in Tsukuba last year for an internship, and there was a Catholic church there. And there you go. Yeah, so there are a lot of Catholic churches around for sure, and there are mosques as well. I know my Muslim friend was visiting earlier this year, and he said he visited a huge mosque that was in Tokyo. Of course, you'd probably have anything in Tokyo, but yeah, huge one. So, you know, there is representation for sure. And Nanomask, I'm probably going to go to sleep. It's nearly 10 p.m. Sounds good. Thanks for sticking around for as long as you did. Appreciate you visiting out here. Always nice to see some friendly faces in the chat. Is there still trauma in Japan from the last loss against Belgium in the 2018 World Cup? I mean, yeah. I mean, people don't talk about it that much, but it was tough. I was in Japan watching it live with Japanese friends at the time, and it was tough to watch. They were up 2-0, and then they lost 3-2 to Belgium. And Japan has never made it past the first round in knockouts, so everyone really wanted them to make it. Yeah, so it was a tough loss, but I wouldn't say there's like terrible trauma. And yeah, Oyasumi, EA the Gamer. Exactly. Oyasumi nasai. And Take One Studios, thank you for the gifted membership. Appreciate it. Appreciate you always coming out here, asking good questions, and adding good input as well. Helping fill the gaps that I leave. And thank you for supporting the channel. All right, let me try to get to another question. Here's one. Hi, hello there. I wanted to ask about healthcare in Japan. How does it actually look, and is it somehow different for foreigners? Yeah, good question. So, so healthcare in Japan is very different from the West. It is significantly different. So in the West, at least in Canada, when I have something going on with my body, like it's some disease, something hurts, whatever, you go to your GP, your general practitioner, and you say, hey, like my arm hurts, my leg hurts, my stomach hurts. What should I do? And if they can, they'll try to prescribe you something and deal with the pain. Say, okay, well, see how it works in a couple of weeks, come back. If it's not good, and let me know. And then I'll basically introduce you to an expert, right? So that's the typical funnel in Canada, and I think in a lot of the West as well. You go to your GP, and then they try to solve it. If not, they'll introduce you to a specialist. But in Japan, you just go directly to the specialist. Like you skip the GP. There are pretty much no GPs in Japan, I just realized. Like there are clinics for everything. Like you have a dermatologist clinic, you have the ENT, you have like surgery clinic, like internal organ clinic, you have like external bodily clinic, you have like bone clinic. Like they have all the specialty clinics, and you literally just treat it like a restaurant. Like you you go to Google Maps, and like you'd look up, say like if you're in Kumamoto, you know, you say, yeah, dermatologist. I probably could look this up in English, probably still show up. So you look for a dermatologist, and then you see like this list of dermatology clinics. They're like, okay, it's a 4.4 star. That's pretty good. Check out the pictures. Oh, the doctor looks very nice. Oh, I like, okay, yeah, they do treatments here. And you just pick it out. Like you pick out your own clinic. Like in Canada, you would get introduced to a specific dermatologist, and you don't really get to choose for the most part, but you get introduced, and then you like go there, and then they'll solve your stuff, hopefully. But in Japan, you just go directly to the specialist, and I kind of like this system more. I like it more because it creates more competition. Like in Canada, there's no competition for healthcare because first of all, it's free healthcare, you know, which is great. It's great that it's free. I believe healthcare should be free. But in practice, what happens when it's free is that everyone clogs up the system with stuff that doesn't really need to be looked at. Like if you have like a cold, or like you're just like feeling a little sore, or like, oh, leg kind of hurts, or like I want to take some pills just to like do whatever, lose weight. You just go to Canada, you get it for free, right? And like something hurts, you go to the emergency room. The emergency room gets like packed. Like in Canada, if you go to the emergency room, you have to wait for like 5 hours. Like obviously if you're having a heart attack, they'll like wheel you in right away. But like anything that's like below like life threatening that you go to the emergency room for, you have to wait hours in the emergency room just to get looked at, because it's just clogged up with people using the system because they're like, hey, it's free, let's just freaking do it. And then whereas in the States, where you have like the insurance based healthcare system, like obviously that's pretty infamous because you have to pay so much money, and if you're not covered by insurance, you're just basically going bankrupt because you have to pay all these medical bills, and it's super expensive, which is the other side of the spectrum, which is also has its weaknesses in that sense. But in Japan, it's a nice balance that in Japan, you pay 30% of your medical bill. Okay, you don't pay for all of it, and it's not free, but the government does pay for most of it. The government pays for 70% of it, and you pay 30%. And I like this. I believe in the ideal world, healthcare is free. But in practice, having to pay a little bit for the healthcare is enough of a deterrent for people to stop going to like clinics and hospitals for dumb reasons, right? Because like they have to pay for it, even though it's like heavily discounted. Because they have to pay for it, they're not going to go for the dumbest reason. Like they're only going to go when they need it. And it's a nice balance because it makes it affordable because it's heavily discounted. But like you still have some skin in the game. Like you don't go for free and clog up the system. So yes, I like that Japan, you can go to whatever clinic you want and it's competitive. Like it's like restaurants. It's like restaurants on Google Maps. Like you look for the best dermatologist in your city. And if a dermatologist is not very good, then they're going to go out of business. No one's going to go there because they don't have to go there. And so only the most like clean and professional and like well done dermatologists are going to survive. And then you can still pick the best one out of those. And I like that system. And you don't need to waste time going to a GP and then getting an introduction and then you go to the specialist. You can go straight to the specialist. It's very efficient in that sense. I love it. I love that. So yeah, I've had nothing but good experiences with healthcare in Japan. Yeah, obviously it's not perfect. I'd say again, in the ideal world, healthcare is free. In Japan, you have to pay for it. You pay health insurance. But I mean, a good thing again about the 30% that you pay is that there's a cap. Like if you have like a severe accident and you need major surgery that costs like $50,000, you're not paying like $15,000, you know, like 30% of that out of pocket. There's a cap that's like around like a few $1,000s. So like, yeah, you have to get major surgery and it costs you a few $1,000s and it's probably very traumatic. And, you know, it costs a good amount of money. So like, you know, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to put you into bankruptcy like the States will if you're not covered by insurance. And like, it's just, it's more accessible to everybody. So yeah, I like it. And it's just like the service actually works. You don't have to wait for hours and all that stuff. So I'm a fan. I'm personally a fan of healthcare in Japan. You know, no system is perfect, but I like the way they do it. And they have a little My Number card. Like it's basically your social insurance card. You just have one card and wherever you go, they made like recently, they put it all together. Like all the clinics, all the hospitals use your My Number card now. And all you have to do is you scan it and then they have all your history. Like they know like your age and like all your past diseases and like the hospitals you've been to. And it's just like, great. Like you have all the information there. And no matter what clinic I go to, like, you know exactly what my history is. And that's like, great. So I love it. And it's linked to your national health insurance. So, you know, it's like proof of, I guess, health insurance too. So it's all in one. Yeah. So I like that. And what is up, Nick Wilds? Saying I should make more travel videos. Yeah, maybe in the future. I mean, right now, like I'm trying to focus on like life in Japan and like Japanese language ones, you know, like useful videos that are like practical, a little more tutorial based, but I would like to make more traveling videos, vlogs in the future. So I'm glad you enjoyed them. Would like to make more in the future. And the questions appear in stream. Do they appear random or is there an order to it? It's kind of random. Yeah. Like I kind of go through the list and like, it's not always chronological. I just kind of answer whatever questions there are. So yeah. Not necessarily perfectly ordered. And let me take a little swig of water. All right. Hi Toku, do you know if a master's degree in diplomacy, political science can open to some opportunities with an N2 level? I'm finishing my study journey and I'm actually N5, so I'm still grinding. Thank you. So do you know if a master's degree in diplomacy, political science can open some opportunities with an N2 level? Okay, so I'm guessing master's degree in diplomacy, political science and having an N2 level. And does that open doors in Japan? I mean, first of all, having N2 will definitely open a lot of doors because that's usually like the starting point where you're proficient in Japanese and you're also seen as being proficient in Japanese. Like you want to have N2. And recently with like the new visa rules, you need to have N2 certification if you want to work a job in Japan that requires Japanese language. Before you could just fudge it, but now like you need to have that certification. So N2 and above, yes, that will help you find jobs. And having a master's degree is like even better, highly educated. Japan is still very conservative in the sense that they like traditional education. They like degrees, and it shows that you can stick to rules and you can learn the system and go through it successfully. So having a master's degree is even better. In terms of diplomacy, political science, if you want to stay in that field, I couldn't tell you. I'm not an expert in that field. I know you can be a politician in Japan as a foreigner. There are foreigner politicians here. If you want to be a politician, if you want to work for like say a consulate, maybe. I'm not sure what the rules are if you can work there as a non-Japanese citizen. But yeah, I mean, just having a degree, especially a master's degree with a high proficiency of Japanese will open a lot of doors. Even if it's not in your field of study, they just love that you have a master's degree. And like, it'll help as well for getting permanent residence because you'll get a lot of points for being proficient in Japanese and for having a master's degree. So 100% recommend. And then if you can get like a good paying job, that's even more points. So that's very, very important. Yeah. And in round 5, yeah, keep up the grind. Keep it up. It's a long journey, but very rewarding. And it's great that you're planning ahead. And Nick Wild, is healthcare free as in your work company pays for it, or is it free? Does the company pay for your health bills, or is it just free? Yeah, so good question. So in Japan, you still pay for health insurance, but if you work full-time for a medium or large size company, they pay for your health insurance. You do not pay health insurance in Japan if you work for a medium to large size company. But you do still pay for your medical bills, okay? Which is still heavily discounted. Like it's 70% discounted. You pay for the 30% left over, but you don't need to pay for insurance. You just pay for the 30% that you owe for whatever healthcare service that you need. And again, it's capped. Like you're not going to go beyond like a few $1,000s for like, major operations, etc. Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, the insurance is free if you work for a bigger company. If not, you sign up for national healthcare insurance that you pay out of pocket. And that is based on how much you make in a year. So if you don't make a lot of money, then you don't need to pay a lot of insurance. If you make more in money, then you pay more in insurance. But it's still like, at the end of the day, I think it's reasonable. It's a reasonable cost. And are these clinics by government or private clinics? They're private clinics. For the most part, all these clinics are private. I don't even know if there are any government. There might be some government run hospitals, but they're not necessarily government run. I would say the majority aren't government run, if I were to guess. A lot of them are university hospitals or just like city hospitals. Yeah, I think for the most part, they're not government run. They're all private. Yeah, but it works out. I mean, yeah, I've had mostly just good experiences with Japanese healthcare. Yeah, so I like the system. It works for me. How do you move around day to day? Trains and walking. Remember you made a video with your mom and went to a restaurant and a Japanese guy said you have a good accent. You told him, well, you have a good accent too. And he was like, I'm born here. Haha. Yeah. That's when I traveled with my mom to Toyama and Gifu. Yeah, thanks for watching that video. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a fun time with my mom. And yeah, it's like the good response to like Nihongo Jouzu. Like your Japanese is so good that you like always get as a foreigner who speaks some level of Japanese. And if you just feel like playing around, you can be like, no, your Japanese is good. And they're like, yeah, well, because I'm Japanese. And it's just like, it's a fun little banter. Yeah, I really like that moment too. I'm glad you liked it as well. Thanks for watching my video. I'm considering getting a jidensha bicycle. Yeah, I've like friends who own bicycles and it's a very good way to get around the city as well. The only thing is you have to figure out parking. And there are a lot of bicycle parkings you can do. So yeah, it's not too difficult. Yeah, just a matter of like how far you are from everything and how quickly you want to get there. All right, we can move on to the next question. How accurately do you think YouTubers with a foreign audience portray Japan in their videos, like Abroad in Japan, dislikes Japanese TV? Okay, for example, Abroad in Japan, dislikes Japanese TV. Takashi, many people in Japan seem to cheat. Okay. Just like Japanese TV. Okay, so that's what you're saying your examples are. So like, for example, Abroad in Japan says he dislikes Japanese TV, and like maybe that's just bad in general. And that Takashi says many people in Japan seem to cheat, or at least that's how it's portrayed in his videos by the people getting interviewed. Yeah. I think it depends on the content creator. I would say, so yeah. So essentially, like what you're asking is like, how accurately is Japan portrayed on social media? Like we all see like the meme, like, oh, like Japan is this beautiful place, like it's Mount Fuji, we have 7-Eleven, everything tastes good, and like matcha ice cream, you know, sushi is delicious, the service is fantastic, trains are epic. That's what you'll see like 90% on social media is not accurate. It's real, whatever. So in that sense, you know, a lot of the videos that you see on social media are kind of skewed towards travelers. Like it's all these like fun tourist spots and these cool epic all these like epic scenic areas. So that's not necessarily truly Japan. So I'd be careful watching those and thinking that's like what Japan life is going to be like if you want to live here. But I'd say people like Abroad in Japan, I'm a big fan of. Like I think he makes very well balanced content. He covers like controversial issues sometimes. Says he dislikes Japanese TV. And I think he holds like a balanced opinion. Like I don't think he's like exaggerating anything, and he's talking about real social issues. I think if you're watching Abroad in Japan, you're probably safe. It's a fair portrayal of Japanese culture. Takashi, yeah, again, like he's asking real people in Japan for like their opinions. So it's like that is like the real voice of the people essentially. But what you do need to be careful of with like interviews and like other people who make that kind of content on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, is that like it's still like a small sample size of people. Like a lot of other interviewers, like you see a lot of videos of people like doing funny interviews in Shibuya. Like they're specifically trying to find like these weird and unique people in like Shibuya or like other like party districts or like, you know, rougher areas of town or like very particular areas of town. And like obviously the people in the party districts that are famous for being a little rowdy are gonna have some more eccentric opinions. And that's why a lot of like the content creators go there for interviews. Like that's why a lot of the content creators go there for interviews, is because there's like they have these interesting opinions that aren't necessarily reflective of the general population, right? So that's something you need to be aware of. Like if they're doing interviews in Shibuya and the people like they have like, you know, they have these crazy fashion and like they speak fun like in a unique way and they have these like very interesting opinions, just be aware that that is like a subset of people and it's not necessarily representative of the general opinion in Japan. And I mean, that's just going to be the case for any video interviews or whatever. It's always going to be like a small sample. Sorry. You're always going to be like looking at a small sample of people or a small sample of the area of wherever in Japan. So yeah, just understand it's like a slice and try to look at the context as well. Yeah, who are they asking? What area are they in? You know, what are the opinions in general with many people? Yeah. But yeah, sometimes people like to portray Japan a little bit differently because it sells better. You know, very beautiful, clean country, very respectful. The food is amazing, scenic views everywhere. Or like, yeah, people have some crazy opinions. People in Shibuya are like crazy party people and they like cheating is okay. There definitely is like a very interesting thing about cheating culture in Japan. And that is like true. But yeah, definitely understand the context behind the videos. Hey Sean, yes, you can ask your question in the chat as well. No guarantees I'll get to it though. I try to answer more questions in the Q&A and I try to give more robust answers as well for the questions I get in the Q&A. But yeah, feel free to ask your question wherever. Just no guarantees I'll answer it. When jobs hire foreigners, do they pay attention to what university you went to if it's highly reputable? Not really. Not really. If it's really reputable, then maybe like Harvard, MIT, like really big name universities that they would know, then maybe they'd be like, oh wow, that's an incredible school. Like maybe we should hire them. But for the most part, they probably don't know most foreign schools, so they don't know the line between like reputable and like, you know, smaller university. So I wouldn't say that's as important for jobs. It's just more important for permanent residence and points, from my understanding. Tokuyuu getting interviewed by Tokyo Sims is on my 2026 bingo card. We'll see. I mean, there's only like 6 months left. 6 months left in 2026, so you know, he's only got a few more months to reach out to me to make it happen. But that'd be cool. That'd be a fun little crossover moment. Choco, yeah. Too bad we only have a few minutes here for this live. It was fun. Yeah, I appreciate it. Oh, and I see your name. Is it Guy? Is it Guy? Am I pronouncing that properly? I don't know. If you're the francophone who asked earlier, but yeah, thank you for sticking around. And just honestly, looking at this question again, like abroad in Japan dislikes Japanese TV. I was literally watching TV at my gym because they just have it on like a big TV on like the wall. And one of the things that like even Japanese people get frustrated at with Japanese TV is that they'll like put in commercials in the most annoying spots, and they'll do it on purpose. Like they'll have this huge buildup, like, oh my God. And they'll like show like the general area, like someone's reacting to something crazy happening, and then they'll show what they're looking at, but it's all blurred or has like something blocking it, like, oh my God. And then like they're about to reveal it, and there's like commercial break. And I was like watching on like the TV at my gym, and it was like doing a countdown. They were doing like a singing competition, and this girl was like preparing, she's like getting ready, and like, okay, this is like the final challenge, get ready to sing. And they had a counter. It was like counting down from 10, like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and just like getting ready, like all this suspense. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she's ready. She opens her mouth, about to start singing, and then boom, commercial break. And I'm like, this is why people hate Japanese TV. Like they just like do this freaking like bait. They do this like hook cliffhanger bait for the commercial break, and they do it like for almost every commercial break, and it does get a little bit tiring to watch. So that's one thing I could definitely agree with abroad in Japan, and like some of my Japanese friends could probably agree with as well. Like that's one annoying part of Japanese TV. It's kind of funny. So Jiru or Jirus, if I'm supposed to pronounce that with the kind of Japanese pronunciation. So Jiru or Jirus. In French, it's pronounced. I should know how to pronounce things in French because like I'm from Canada and we learned French as a second language, but my French is so bad. In French, it's pronounced. It's like you don't usually pronounce the L in French, right? It's like Guy, right? It's not like Gil, I think. But although with the Japanese one, you said Jiru. So it sounds like you're pronouncing the L there. Jiru. Maybe I'll just say Jiru. Maybe I'll just like do the Japanese way. If you could forgive me for that, Jiru, because that also sounds really cool. Jiru. That I is pronounced. The I is pronounced Jiru. So like in Gi, but it's if I say Gi, is that not pronouncing the I? Yeah, I mean, this is just my yeah, it's okay too. Yeah, I mean, it's just my inability to know French when I should know it. But L. Yeah, straight up. Jiru. Maybe I'll just say Jiru if that's cool with you. So, yeah, what Japanese university? I'll be starting my master's in Fukushima in the University of Aizu. Have ever heard of it or know its reputation? No, unfortunately, I'm not very well versed in universities around Japan, especially in like Fukushima, like a totally different prefecture. I mean, if you go to like the reputable university list from the like PR point calculator, they have the link there. You can see if it's considered a reputable university. It probably is because a lot of the Japanese universities are. So yeah, if you want to like get I mean, it probably helps to get a job, but like definitely get like more PR points if you want to get permanent residence eventually. That definitely helps as well. And do I know any animation scholarships that aren't too demanding in terms of criteria? No, I do not. No, I'm not. I'm very not knowledgeable on scholarships especially like specifically animation ones. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's competitive though, because of course, like Japan is famous for animation, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of people trying to apply. And it is 11 o'clock. We can chill and chat for a few more minutes, you know, because, you know, it's been a pleasure, you know, talking with you guys and reading your questions, chatting in the chat. So we can go for a few more minutes before we call it a day. Any specifics? Okay, I think my mouth is getting too dry to not screw up my words right now. So any specific skills in college that I should learn which would help me in the future Japanese career as a student who is just about to begin college for a B.Tech degree? B.Tech, is that like biotech? Am I understanding that correctly? Specific skills in college that I should learn. The number one skill would be Japanese language, ironically. If you're talking about like specific jobs in biotech, if I'm correct in my understanding, I'm not sure. Yeah, you'd have to look into the biotech industry in Japan. Yeah, so yeah, but like learning Japanese is like as a language is the number one skill you can learn for sure. And Epic Tacos, what is up? I've learned hiragana katakana as in reading the characters and saying them, but I don't know what I'm reading. What do you think would be the next step? Yeah, I mean, it would be learning vocab as well, because yeah, if you can recognize the characters, fantastic, great job learning the kana. And of course, there's going to be like words that you don't know, so you can like physically read out the letters, but maybe you don't know what the word is. Like the next step is to learn vocab, grammar, and kanji, and that's just going to be your journey for like the rest of for learning Japanese, and of course listening and reading as well in there as well. Yeah. And Nora, you know, I just realized you have your own emoji, Toku. That's so funny. Toku approved. That's actually hilarious. I never thought of it like that. Yeah, that's actually so good. I should use that more often. That could be like my own little thing. Yes, so glad that they have it. So glad that it means like a good deal in Japan. That's hilarious. That's such a good discovery. Thank you, Nora. I'm gonna be like using that all the time now. Just boom, drop it in my own stamp. That's amazing. And Tokuyuu, do you have any tips for language school? I'm starting in September and I'm afraid to reinforce bad speaking habits when practicing with classmates. Yeah, I mean, the great thing is that you'll have a teacher there, right? So you can like just ask your teacher, please let me know if I'm saying anything that's really, really incorrect. Like if my like your pronunciation is not going to be perfect in the beginning, and that's totally fair. But yeah, you're fair to also be afraid to develop really bad habits. At the end of the day, be very focused on your vowels. I say that's my number one tip for people who want to improve their pronunciation, is really pronounce the vowels properly, because it's always a, I, U, E, O. That's it. Those are the only vowels in Japan. You should not be saying like it, like that vowel sound, it. That doesn't exist in Japanese. It's either I or e. There's no e. So like you might start getting lazy or like defaulting to your English accent. So instead of saying like hito, which is hito, you might say hito, which is like the I and it, hito. So the number one thing you can do is really focus on pronouncing your vowels properly. Hito. And always make sure it's an a, I, U, E, O. It should never change from that. And yeah, since you're going to a language school, that's great. Just like make sure like your teacher is like listening to you, and like ask like in particular if there's anything that you're really tripping up with your pronunciation, and it's good to get corrected very early on. And yeah, Jiru, I thought of pivoting to IT skills, but realized it's a long-term something. So yeah, I mean, anything, like when you learn any new skills, it's going to take a long time to get good at it, right? So that is normal. Just got to pick one and commit to it. And what's your tip on struggling in immersion? I find N4 content difficult, and sometimes it makes me feel like I want to give up. Using LinkQ, very frustrating since it pushes you directly into Japanese. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough when you're at the N4 level. Like you've already made it to a great level. You're like already above more than 90% of people who start learning Japanese just by getting to the N4 level. but it's still like, you know, early stages, and it's hard to find good immersive content at that early stage still. So it is frustrating, but for the most part, just keep up your content studying. Like learn your vocab, learn that kanji, learn the grammar. And then once you're N3 and higher, I feel like N3 and higher is when the immersion starts getting better. But if you want to look for like specific sites, Natively is a good one. So Natively Japanese, and they have like Japanese books and shows, movies, whatever, ranked by JLPT level. And they even have N4 out here. So they have these books for N4 level. And again, they're rated based on their usefulness for learning as well as their entertainment. So you can look at these for inspiration if you want. And again, like as you get better and better at Japanese, you'll have more and more resources available to you. So just keep studying your content. And then they have videos as well, which are like shows and movies. And again, you can look for N4 level in particular, and then N4 level right there, you know, Totoro, Ponyo, all that good stuff. And Rohit, what's the cheapest countryside area with low tourist to live in near Kyoto, as I am moving to Kyoto ISI language school next year with my friend? That's awesome. That's really cool that you're moving to Japan with a friend. And like you're going to be living together. That'd be epic. That's so cool that you have a friend that you want to move together with. In the Kyoto region, yeah, it depends like how far from Kyoto you want to be. Again, like I'm not an expert on, you know, all cities. I used to live in Hikone over here, which is actually not too far from Kyoto, but like a 50-minute train ride. Yeah, very, very cheap to live in. I think my rent was maybe like $800 a month Canadian, for a 2-bedroom apartment, like living room, new apartment, 5-minute walk to the biggest station in town. Like that's such a good deal. So like if you split that with like a friend, like you're only paying $400 a month for rent for a nice place, and then you can like find stuff that's cheaper. So literally like, yeah, any town is going to be like, yeah, any small town is going to be like quite cheap. If you want to be even closer to Tokyo, you know, I'm not sure, you know, how rural you're willing to go, but yeah, there's a lot of rural, like I've never even heard of like Nantang. Like look how rural that is. They have freaking gasho houses, the thatched roofing houses. Like I don't even know if you can live here. Like, can you live in this house? That was really funny. I didn't know they had that in Kyoto. But yeah, I mean, Hikone, I've lived in, very nice city, very quiet, about 100,000 people on the lake, Lake Biwa, the biggest lake in Japan. Very peaceful, naturous. And then they have all these other ones like Oumi Hachiman is even closer to Kyoto if you want to be closer. Again, it's probably similar size to Hikone, same vibe. Looks like it, I think, I can't remember if I actually went in the city, but I passed through it many times. Like, yeah, look at this. Like, it has really nice charm, right? So that's another one you could look into. You know, Shiga is like a nice place to live in. Like that's the prefecture that Hikone and Oumi Hachiman are in. And if you want to go slightly bigger, then Kusatsu is like a bigger city in Shiga, but not nearly as big as Kyoto. And it's quite close to Kyoto. Like you probably get there in like 20 minutes, essentially. Yeah. So yeah, some things to think about. And Nora, you're welcome. Yes, thank you so much for finding my personalized emoji. Not that rural. Yeah, if you don't want to go too rural, then Kusatsu might be a good one. Smaller city, but it's still like got a sizable population. I'm not sure what the population is. I would guess like a couple 100,000 Kusatsu's population. Yeah, not the one in Gunma. Yeah, 150,000. Yeah, so bigger, but definitely not a big city, and it still has like whatever you need in it, you know, because it's a city. Yes, that's a good one, I'd say. And if you want to go even bigger, then Otsu. Otsu is like the biggest city in Shiga. I think it's the capital of Shiga, and it's very close to Tokyo, as you can see. Otsu population. Yeah, 340,000 or so. So it's a bigger city, but again, not as big as Kyoto. So if you want to like a little bit quieter, not as many tourists, yeah, Otsu, probably a good one as well. So maybe look into that. And again, like from Otsu station to Kyoto station is probably like stupidly close. Kyoto Station. I would be surprised if it took more than 20 minutes. Station to station. Yeah, 9 minutes. 9 minutes from Otsu Station to Kyoto Station. Obviously, you know, wherever you live, you need to, within Otsu, you need to get to that main station, but like, there's such good accessibility. Yeah, and close to Kyoto. So, yeah, maybe some things to look into. And to follow up on my earlier question about healthcare in Japan, do they package pills individually for each day? I lived in Korea and saw that there, and I was curious if it's the same in Japan. Unfortunately, they don't. No, they don't. That would be nice. I mean, the pills are packaged individually in the sense that like it's like a sheet, you know? I don't know, kusuri, jōzai, burista. Like these are like typically the ones that you would find in Japan. So yeah, they're like packaged individually in that sense. But it's not like it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday like listed. But they do, like when you go to your healthcare clinic, like with your prescription, and they like to the pharmacy, sorry, you go to the pharmacy with your prescription for the medication, they will count out the pills for the days. They will do that. Like they'll like take the blister package of pills and they'll cut it. And they'll give you exactly the number of pills you have for the prescribed time you should be taking the pills. So in that sense, that is counted by the day, but it's not like individually like packaged in a nice packaging that's like, hey, these are all your pills for Monday and these are all your pills for Tuesday. That would be really nice, but no, yeah, it's just like individually packaged in this sense. You don't typically get like the bottles that you see in the West, like pill bottles. Like these ones. This one has M&Ms on it for some reason, but like, you know, where you have like 20 pills in a single bottle. Yeah, I've never seen this in Japan. What do you think? 4 months is enough to clear N3 after someone has cleared N5 and N4? Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, if you're cleared N4, 4 months is enough. But again, you want to be studying probably like at least an hour a day. Good studying. Yeah, hour and a half a day. Thanks. No worries, Rohit. Let me know how the moving situation goes and keep us updated. And Nora, I'm thinking about getting an apartment instead of a student dorm if I get a scholarship, but would you say it takes a long time to find a flat? Experience with Sumo or other websites. So thinking of getting an apartment instead of a dorm if I get a scholarship, but it would take a long time to find a flat. Again, it depends where you live. I know you're saying you want to move to Tokyo. I don't know why you'd want to move to Tokyo. It's just so much more inferior to Osaka. But yeah, if you're in a major city, especially Tokyo, there's going to always be apartments available, like popping up, getting taken, but then new ones pop up all the time. So if you're not super picky about where you live, you can definitely find a place you can move in immediately, 100%. And yeah, I use Sumo, and it's like, yeah, great experience. Sumo. And yeah, you speak Japanese, so I'm sure you can use this site no problem. They might have an English version as well, but you know. So yeah, and you can essentially write your criteria as well. So say you want to live, chintai, so you want to live for a rent, and say you want to live in Tokyo. You know, you want to be close to the major city. You pick like the specific wards you want to live in, and then you can also pick your joukan, like your conditions. And it can be like, okay, I want to be within like 10 minutes of the station, and I want to be living in a 1 LDK, and I want to be in a mansion, not an apartment, and I want it to be constructed within at least the last 20 years. And I would like to live in somewhere bigger than 30 meters squared. And then you can like, yeah, list all your joukan, and then you can look, and then you search, and then like, okay, then you have like 34,000 results. And like, yeah, sure, some of them have different move-in times, but a lot of them are happy to have you right away. And then it's just a matter of like, you know, finding one that you like and visiting them. Yeah, I'd say it doesn't take a long time. The longest time it takes is just figuring out what your conditions are, and then searching through the apartments and looking at the pictures. Like I would like look at these pictures. I'd like open it up. Shōsai o miru. And then, yeah, I'd be like, hey, that's the floor plan. Okay, so we have a living room. We have like a 3 bedroom, not that big. The layout's kind of nice though. I like that the bedroom connects to the living room. That's nice. I could live with this. Okay, how far is it from the station? And then you say, okay, it's 7-minute walk from JR Yamanote. Oh, that's pretty good. And Akihabara. Oh, that's a pretty good location. Okay, yeah, maybe it's a bit smaller, but the location's pretty good and made in the last 10 years. Sorry, this might be a little bit small for you to see, but yeah, like you see how far it is from the station and like when it's made, square meterage, what floor it's on, mansion, whatever. Facing, like you want south facing, usually that's the most sunlight, but you know, whatever. That's like you're getting picky at that point. I'm picky, but it depends how picky you are. You see the view, and then you can like sign up to like do a house viewing. Yeah. Would you be my guarantor? I don't even know if I can be a guarantor if I'm allowed to. I don't know how that system works, but we can definitely talk about it. I don't even know how that works. Do you have to be Japanese or permanent resident works? But yeah, definitely we can talk it out later. And yes, we are a very fashionable 16 minutes over our time. I'm just having a good time chatting with you guys, and you're asking some great questions. So I was having a good time. Hopefully you guys are having a good time too. But it is that time of the day / night to wrap up the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching for as long as you did, whether it was 2 minutes or 2 hours. And thank you for sending your messages in chat, sending like gifted memberships, your support if you did so, and like asking your questions and like, yeah, just, you know, talking. And just even if you didn't send any messages in the chat, if you're just watching, appreciate your support all the time. It really means a lot. And yeah, it's so much fun talking to you guys. And it was nice seeing so many new faces out here as well. Thanks for checking out the stream. Really love to see you guys. And no, thank you for your time, Ahmad. Appreciate it. And EA the Gamer, again, nice seeing you. I think it's my first time seeing you in here. Always good to see new faces. And Andrew as well. Nice to see you out here as well. Appreciate you. Always showing support. Koshi as well, of course. Thank you so much. Yeah, Lil Uzi Flame, you too. Always appreciate your support, commenting on all my videos and posts and being active in the stream as well. Glad you thought it was an amazing stream. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, Arnav as well. Bye to you too, and thank you for your time. So yeah, thank you all for being around, and yeah, I'll be back in 2 weeks time, and hopefully by then we will have the next video out. So that'll be exciting. It's gonna be like very tight. If I can just get it out before the next stream, or it'll be a couple days after the next stream, we'll see. But like, I'm grinding it out. So hopefully by the next stream we'll maybe have something else to talk about with the video. So until then, great talking to you guys, and I'll see you hopefully again in another 2 weeks. So in the meantime, good luck with your studies and maybe your move to Japan. I know a couple of you are moving to Japan in the chat, or you know, whatever else you have in life. I know Nora's got her scholarship application, so good luck with all your endeavors, and hopefully talk to you soon. Tokuyuu out.